Millionaire arrives home early and can't believe what he sees. The little boy loved to draw. His blond hair often fell into his eyes as he bent over paper with thick crayons, tongue poking out in concentration. The walls of his playroom were covered with pages, skies shaded with blue, stick figures with smiling faces, houses with crooked chimneys. But among them, one drawing appeared again and again, a small boy holding his father's hand, both walking side by side. In reality, that dream was impossible. At least, that's what the doctors had said. His legs were too weak, they explained. Even with braces and support, walking would take years, maybe longer, maybe never. His father, a wealthy man always buried in meetings, had accepted the medical verdict with a heavy heart. It was easier to believe the boy couldn't walk than to cling to false hope. But the maid, Anna, couldn't accept it. Every day she tidied his toys, washed his clothes, and prepared his meals. Yet more than anything, she watched him, watched how he gripped his crayons tighter than most, how determination burned in his small brown eyes even when his body betrayed him. She noticed the way his hand lingered over the walking figures he drew, his face clouding with longing. One afternoon, Anna sat beside him as he scribbled another drawing. The boy paused, pressing his crayon against the paper until it snapped in half. His lip trembled. "Why always this?" Anna asked gently, pointing at the picture of him walking with his father. The boy lifted his gaze. "Because that's my gift." "Gift?" He nodded firmly, though his voice was small. "Papa has everything, cars, houses, watches, but he doesn't have this. Me, walking with him." His eyes shimmered, his breath hitching. "I want to give him the most precious thing in the world. My steps." Anna's throat tightened. She pressed a hand to her chest, fighting the lump rising there. "Then let's try." His brows furrowed in confusion. "Try what?" "To walk," she whispered, her voice carrying both fear and conviction. "If that's your gift, then I'll help you wrap it." From that day, their secret training began. At first, the boy could barely stand. His legs trembled violently, his small fingers gripping Anna's hands with desperate strength. He fell often, tears springing to his eyes, frustration bursting out in cries. But Anna never let him fall hard. She caught him each time, kneeling on the floor beside him, whispering, "Again, we don't give up." The marble floors of the mansion echoed with his grunts, his tiny gasps, the soft thud of his crutches. Outside, the father remained unaware, assuming his son spent afternoons with toys or books. But in hidden corners of the garden, in hallways far from curious eyes, Anna worked with him, step by step, breath by breath. Rain or shine, they continued. When puddles formed in the yard, Anna laid down cloths so his shoes wouldn't slip. When his hands blistered from gripping the crutches, she wrapped them tenderly with cloth. Each setback cut her deeply, but each small success, one step held longer than the last, one fall steadied faster, lit her spirit aflame. There were nights the boy sobbed, whispering, "It hurts, I can't." And Anna would hold him close, her cheek pressed against his hair, whispering back, "Pain is the soil where miracles grow. Trust me, trust yourself." And slowly, impossibly, the miracle began to sprout. He started standing for longer stretches. His crutches, once awkward, became extensions of his body. His steps, still shaky, carried him farther than either of them thought possible. Each time, his face lit up with fierce joy, as though he could already picture his father's astonished eyes. But pressure weighed heavily on Anna's heart. She knew what this meant to him, not just learning to walk, but giving his father something no wealth could buy. She knew the risk, too. If he fell too hard, if he hurt himself, if the father found out before he was ready, everything could shatter. Yet when she looked into the boy's determined face, she saw the same fire that filled his drawings, and she vowed silently, "I'll see this through. I'll give you your chance to place that gift in his hands." One afternoon, as sunlight bathed the garden, the boy clutched his crutches, sweat beading on his small forehead. Anna knelt, laying a cloth across a puddle ahead of him. "Ready?" she asked softly. The boy nodded, jaw set, with a seriousness far beyond his years. "I'm going to walk to Papa, no matter what." Anna's eyes stung with tears, but she smiled, steady and sure. "Then let's do it together." Behind them, the mansion's glass doors creaked open. A figure stepped out, pausing, eyes widening. The millionaire froze in the doorway, his hands gripping his head as if his eyes had betrayed him. For a heartbeat, he thought it was a dream. His son, pale hair shining in the sunlight, was on his feet, crutches tucked beneath his arms, wobbling but walking. And beside him, Anna knelt low, laying cloth across puddles so the boy's shoes wouldn't slip. His voice caught in his throat. "Ethan!" The boy's head snapped up at the sound, his face lit, though his legs trembled. "Papa!" he shouted, his small voice ringing across the garden. Adrian, a man who had built empires, who had signed contracts worth millions without a tremor in his hand, now shook like a leaf. You're walking." His chest heaved, disbelief mingling with hope and fear. "How? How is this possible?" Ethan gripped his crutches tighter. Every step forward was a battle, knees buckling, arms straining, sweat soaking through his shirt. But his eyes stayed fixed on his father. "I wanted to give you a gift," he panted, "the most precious thing in the world." Anna looked up, her heart thundering. She had sworn to protect this boy, but the sight of the father's wide eyes filled her with dread. Would he see loyalty or betrayal? "Sir," she began carefully, "he asked me to help. He wanted this for you. Every day we trained. He fell, he cried, but he never gave up. I couldn't deny him." Adrian staggered forward, his polished shoes splashing in the puddle. "And if he had broken himself? If he had shattered what little strength he has?" His voice cracked under the weight of fear. "You risked—" "Everything," Anna cut in, her voice trembling but firm. "Yes, because he wanted to stand for you. You call it a risk. I call it faith." The boy stumbled then, nearly falling. Anna darted forward, but Ethan shook his head fiercely, holding himself upright with all the strength in his tiny frame. "No, don't help. I have to do this myself. For Papa." Tears blurred Adrian's vision. His knees buckled as he dropped onto the wet stone path, arms outstretched. "Come to me, son. If it takes you the rest of your life, I'll wait. But come." The garden grew silent except for Ethan's labored breaths, the scrape of his crutches against stone, and the faint rustle of Anna's cloths as she smoothed them across the wet ground. Each step was agony, but it was also triumph. Finally, Ethan reached him. His small body collapsed into his father's arms, the crutches clattering to the side. Adrian crushed him close, burying his face in his son's hair, sobs breaking from his chest. "You've given me everything," he whispered. "Not money, not power. This, your courage, is the greatest gift a father could ever receive." Anna stood back, her hands trembling, her uniform damp from kneeling in puddles. For a moment, She feared she would be dismissed, accused again of recklessness. But Adrian lifted his tear-streaked face toward her. "You believed in him when I didn't," he said hoarsely. "I saw limits. You saw possibility. For that, I owe you more than words." Anna bowed her head, emotion flooding her chest. "I only did what any heart should do." The sun broke through the clouds then, casting golden light across the garden, over the father clutching his son, over the maid standing silently with pride, over the puddles that had marked the battlefield of a child's dream. And in that fragile, perfect moment, the truth settled over them all. Love had trained his body, loyalty had guarded his steps, and courage had delivered the most precious gift in the world. Ethan's drawing had come alive. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.